Welcome to my channel. In this video I intend to film tag my coloring book Confessions, created by Shel's coloring journey. It's quite a long one, it has 23 questions, so I hope that you will be patient with me. The first is to show all this book in your collection. And here is my book about Paris. It has a long story behind. It was many years ago. I had an awful job which I didn't like, and I realized that I need something to distract myself, to relax, and I started to think about doing some art. I was interested in sketching, especially in travel sketching. I started to go to the art shops to purchase some interesting art supplies which I never had as when I was a child, when we had very scarce art supplies. And at that moment I already knew about existence of coloring books, but we had only Garden and Forest by Johanna Basford, and they totally didn't impress me. I didn't understand what exactly is the difference between such adult coloring and children coloring books. Also, only the size, because even in my childhood I preferred not those ornaments or patterns, but something rather than like illustrations to the fairy tales. So adult coloring was totally not my thing until I went to Paris to business trip, and I had a couple of free days, and I decided maybe I can go to one of the huge stores to go to the art supplies area, and I purchased myself several things. I thought that maybe I can do several sketches, so I purchased myself tiny book for sketches, tiny palette, couple of markers, and in the same department I saw this one, and honestly I simply was interested in those black and work in this line art to see how sketches could look. So of course I purchased it. A long story short, after this one, of course I did several sketches. I even can show you these things, and I realized that maybe actually travel sketches isn't where my talent lies. Oh well, I love myself at them. Okay, so I actually went home, I looked at this book, and I decided that maybe I will try to use here my recently purchased set of Derwent ink pens. I went also to YouTube, I googled Derwent ink pens, how to use them, and the first video I found it was Peter Hewitt, and that's where everything has started. Also in Paris I saw other coloring books rather than Johanna Basford, and that's what discovered for me a real world of adult coloring. Then on YouTube, also from Peter Hewitt, I discovered existence of Book Depository. If you're an old dinosaur like myself, you remember that wonderful Book Depository with worldwide delivery, and that's where I started to purchase my books. So this one is the book where I used mostly my ink pens, sometimes Koh-i-Noor pencils, also graphitins, which I also purchased. They look strange, especially this cat. So at some moment, that's color source which I also purchased at that moment. So at some moment I stopped to color here because I still treasure this book, and I realized that actually I'm messing up with these beautiful pictures. I think that couple of years later I did here this one. I think that it looks considerably better. It also is a very old pictures. I don't think that I had touched this book for 4 years. I still love it, and I really don't want to mess it up, and that's another one which I also did. I think that somewhere there is also a page which I did when Notre Dame de Paris burned. Oh, this was also one of my first works, which started to look slightly better. Yeah, this one, which I did when we had this terrible fire in Notre Dame de Paris. And yeah, after this one I hadn't touched it, but I still treasure this one. And we move to the next question, which is newest book you have purchased. And actually it's very fun because it's also about Paris. And I also was inspired both by line art and full color work. This one I hadn't touched yet. And again, for me, this full color art and line art also, it's a very good example how actually person could do those travel sketches, architectural sketches, the thing which I would do if I have more courage probably to start practicing. Anyway, I was very happy to purchase this one. I already mentioned that maybe if one day I am lucky to return to Paris. I visited Paris several times, but you know that you can go there indefinite amount of times. So maybe I can find all those places to look myself, and of course I want to color it, and all those shops, they are very stylish. Apart from this one, actually when I started to film this tag, I got my another recent purchase, and it's Winter Wonder by Russell Hampson. He's one of the artists whose books I tend to purchase constantly as soon as the new book arrives. I love to collect them, they are really lovely, but I also love to color them, and I'm quite a seasonal colorist. I love to color winter pictures during Christmas and winter season, so I needed this one, especially because it has not only Christmas pictures, but also something to color in January and February. Okay, the next one is your most colorful page. You know, it was impossible to answer because I tend to color in very colorful way everything. All my pictures are motley. They balance on the very thin line between tastelessly motley and interesting and colorful. It's very difficult for me to stay in limited color palette or to do something really dark, and choice was really difficult. I decided to show you a couple of pictures where I think that they were badly colorful. For example, spread in Johanna Basford, which is artist which I totally can't color normally. This one is crazy coloring because, well, I know what is the reason. I totally wasn't interested in the building, and I wanted to try something unusual for the sky. In the end, I ruined both. And another example where I simply was so tired in the end. Sorry guys, as usual, I forgot to put bookmarks. That I simply grabbed all available colors. This one. But I simply colored with any color available on my table to finish all those strange leaves, strange repeated flowers. This side where I started, it looks okay. When I went to this one, I simply wanted to finish it. And another book where very vibrant colors everywhere ruined my page, it's here. It's very lovely page with interesting flowers and nice castle. And maybe I started it from the good idea to do this gray lavender, gray violet castle. Wanted something unusual, but then I did a very intense background. It didn't match the story because it immediately created impression of some danger. It also didn't add depth to this page, and when I added those flowers by themselves they look very lovely, very interesting, even three-dimensional and fantasy. But we have very vibrant everything. So you can't find the main hero, you don't see the story behind. Every element looks good, interesting leaves, interesting castle, but the final look, well, it's a catastrophe. And I have similar problem with many other pictures. I don't know if it's in this book. Yeah, this one. Also very colorful, and thanks to the huge amount of colors which I used, it's explainable because of course the underwater world, colorful fishes, but I didn't do my color planning carefully, so my mermaid is lost. Again, by itself, she looks interesting. Interesting color combos from orange to magenta on her hair and tail, but well, with such background, she is lost. I really have this problem when I color every time in Tomislav Tomic books, but I try to do more careful color planning. But I also have good examples somehow in Klara Markova. I also have very colorful pictures, and well, I think that they actually work better. It's definitely one of the most colorful, and other one, that was my first. When I finished it, I wasn't happy because here we can't say what is the focal point, where you need to look first. Then I realized that maybe it's style of the artist, that we have a lot of lovely objects. Everything is very sweet and nice and cute, but you can't say what exactly is the main focal point, and that's okay. So we have like several almost independent pictures, and somehow here colorful doesn't mean very ugly, motley. So I think that this one is lovely. Somehow colorful pictures in Klara Markova, it works. All my pictures in Klara Markova books, they are extremely colorful. But well, that's bad example and good example. Next is the most relaxing book to color in your collection. Well, there are two examples. The first one is Teresa Goodrich. Usually, especially during Christmas season, when I do winter and Christmas pictures by Teresa, that's very relaxing, very comforting. You know, like you are wearing your old comfy pajama and something very soft and cozy at home. You relax and you color. Never have problems with color choices. So maybe when I do several more complicated subjects in Teresa Goodrich books like seascapes, then I can struggle. But during the whole Christmas season, books by Teresa Goodrich, that's definitely my relaxed coloring and a way to start feeling to this Christmas feeling. But overall, my most relaxed book is books by Russell Hampson. Actually, I mean this one. It's Around the World, where I love everything. Size of the pictures, amount of details, balance between size of the picture and how detailed they are. I absolutely love the story. I love books where we have pictures connected by some story from the beginning until the end, and you can imagine such story. I love those main characters and how they travel. I love the theme of traveling. I even adjusted to this paper, which is not great but quite acceptable. By combining markers and polychromos, I think that I achieved quite good results. So now I am at the stage where I need to finish just one page. As a famous procrastinator, I left as a last pages two pictures which never inspired me like other pictures. The first of them I managed to do. It's this one. I can't say that I like it with all those marker, water and sky. Well, of course I would prefer to do it with watercolors, but it's impossible. Still, I finished it, and now I have the last one, and the book will be finished, but It simply means that Mr. Fogarty, Mr. Snail, and myself will start our journey through different times. I can't wait to start this one. For me, it's definitely a book which always put a smile on my face, and I also feel quite relaxed when I color in these books. Next question is most detailed and challenging book. For me, detailed, it doesn't mean intimidating or challenging every time. Sometimes, yes, like in Johanna Basford, where we have a lot of repeated elements, many of them are similar, and many of them are very small, like in Ocean book or other books, and it tired me pretty quickly. I do maybe interesting part, and then I totally start to lose my patience and my interest. But sometimes there are books which are also detailed, like Crystal Vogel or Clara Markova, where I first scream, oh my god, they are so detailed, I totally can't color them. Then, okay, maybe I will try. Maybe I will start from the main characters, and then step by step I work on such detailed pictures like I solve a puzzle. Bigger pieces than colors for smaller elements. And yes, sometimes it feels overwhelming. Every time when I do picture in Clara Markova and you think like you colored the main elements and then you still have some hanging butterflies, flying butterflies, hanging candies, mushrooms, berries, and you think, why? I totally don't need them. Picture is already beautiful. I don't need those secondary elements, and I want a less detailed picture. So sometimes, yes, it's really feel challenging. Sometimes, like this one, I simply feel that, okay, I will spend on this just 2 times longer comparing to more simple pictures which I have here, but still they don't frighten me, they don't feel challenging for me. Challenging I would call other things which really frightens me. Yes, it could be details and size, like this huge but lovely book which I will start to color normally one day. I think that for me more challenging are empty areas or big portraits. This one, it's definitely frightening, challenging, whatever you call it. We have not very detailed pictures, but I still have no idea how to color it normally. And yes, sometimes it's size. Something dropped, like this one. But we will talk about this one a little bit later, because there are other questions about my very old books, and that's definitely one of the oldest which I own. The next question is the book with the most unique art style. Well, it's difficult to answer because I can clearly see a unique art style in many of my books. Even if on Instagram I saw line art without artist name, I can easily recognize many of the artists, and I think that it's great. But if you speak about the most unique books, maybe this one, which is difficult to color but definitely beautiful by its own in its black and white beauty. It's by Angela Harding. So far I did only one page here. I hope to do more. I can't say that it's easy to color, but challenging, interesting and different. Other totally unique style is by Nick Filbert. I am lucky to have a couple of his books. They also are beautiful in their own way. Black and white line art is amazing, and so far I think that my skills, they are not equal to the beauty of these books, so I don't color them, I just admire and treasure. I hope that one day I will do something in one of his books. And there are artists which style suits me, where I know that I can color almost everything they created without problems. And there are artists which always are difficult for me. Karolina Kubikovska is very difficult. Anna Marchinska, even if her pictures are also quite intricate with many additional lines, I think that she really inspires my creativity, and again, I can recognize her beautiful ladies everywhere. But I'm very happy that the most famous, the most productive artists on our market, Clara Markova, Christine Karen, Russell Hampson, Hannah Carson, of course, they all have their unique style, so it's difficult to say what is the most unique. I am happy that I have books from various artists and I have such a huge collection now. Well, next we have book you have colored the most. That's definitely books by Kanoka Yugusa. I don't think that I want to waste your time showing my progress, because quite soon I plan to start posting my annual review of all my colored pictures, all my coloring book collection, and there will be all my current finished pictures by Kanoka Yugusa. But I have good progress in Symphony of Cute Animals. Before I got the newest book about Leon's journey, I colored in this one very frequently. Now I divide my time between two books, but I still try to color this one, despite problems with paper. So probably now Kanoka Yugusa is my most frequently used and artist, and Symphony of Cute Animals has the best progress. Book you love but haven't colored yet. Oh, people, I have a huge pile of books which I still love with the same force as I loved them when I just purchased them, when I wanted them, and I hadn't touched them. It's a pile of shame, or maybe a pile of happiness, because I know that one day I will start coloring them, and I don't feel like it's a big problem for me, big weight on my cautions that I hadn't started them. For example, I have this beauty. Lovely Pictures, my only book by Harry Potter, and I would say that everything here is good. I do love how they transformed pictures into line art, quite clean, decent paper quality, even if it's double-sided. So I hope that one day I will use watercolor here, but of course, well, it won't be as relaxed as my simple, easy pictures in Russell Hampson, where I can switch off my mind and to color for relaxation. Yes, this one will be a full-size artist project where I will struggle, I know it, where I need to probably to do the watercolor underpaint, which is not easy for me then to work with pencils, so it will be challenging, but I am happy that one day I will finally start to work in this one. And I have other similar books, the same books by Nick Filbert. I don't think that there are books which I currently own, which I love but don't want to color. So all those untouched books, one day I hope that they will appear in color alongs. And the same, the newest book by Christine Karen. I love it dearly, just like I love her first book published by Blue Angel Publishing. But you know that I try to film all my colorings. And now when I have such a dear situation with electric light, I film using power banks, lanterns, whatever. I know that I simply will ruin color along when I do portrait, where you need to show all those delicate color shades. So that's the reason why I hadn't started it yet, but of course I love it, and I hope that soon, when things are better, I will start to do it. Well, the next question is about your sentimental favorite book you would save in a fire. You know, it was one of the questions where I thought the longest. It was really difficult to decide. I realized that I actually don't have such strong connection to my books, and I think that if I have a fire, I would probably save my art supplies. I actually asked myself such question when there was a huge probability that due to the war you maybe need to pack something and to relocate from war, and I decided at that moment that I will try to put into my suitcase as much art supplies as possible, and only a few books. I decided that it will be Nelko Neko, Mythic World by Kirby Razanes, and now the third would be Leon's Journey. I will explain. Art supplies not because I am greedy, because it means that I can, by using art supplies, I can start once again. I have them, so I can redo my pictures if I want. I can do something else, but having only books and not art supplies, it won't help me to proceed my colorings. And those books which I told you, not because of I treasure those pictures which I already did. Yes, I love them, but I know that if I want I can repeat them. But those books for me, they are with the best quality and the best variety of subjects. Even if I have with me only one book like Leon's Journey and my set of Prismacolors, I will be entertained for the next 2 years, because pictures are detailed, pictures are different, so you won't be boring, and one book and pencils, and I will be happy coloring, and I still will be able to do art. So if I need to pack very limited amount of books into my suitcase, it would be Nelko Neko, Cats, Mythic World by Kirby Razanes, it's one of my favorite books also, and Leon's Journey. But again, not because of the sentimental value of what I already did, but because they promise me still huge amount of pleasure in the future. Okay, so the next one is book with the best paper quality. Oh, that's easy, and it's all about Blue Angel Publishing. I'm a huge fan of this company, and I wish that all coloring books will be published by them. There are other books which I own and which have great quality like this one, but sadly Decamate is closed, so we can only speak about past times. They created beautiful and original books, they tried to find unique artists, and their paper is great. But well, they unfortunately closed. Happy for us, Blue Angel Publishing is working, and I started to fall in love with their paper when I started to color books by Jasmine Beckett Griffiths. You know that I'm not a very patient person, so for me pencil background it's something very boring, but on that paper I absolutely love to do Prismacolor pencil backgrounds. They blend like butter. You can create interesting effects like glow in the dark, interesting gradients, all thanks to the paper. And paper also holds watercolor quite well. When I started to collect more books of them, I discovered that yes, you totally can use watercolor very well. And also it's one of the papers where I actually can do quite decent skin tones with my heavy pressure coloring, with my heavy hands and my tendency to color in just one layer. I still think that thanks to the paper, I did quite good portraits here, and that's why I consider, sorry guys, I will try to find, yeah, this one, where I absolutely love how I did her skin. That's not my strong thing to do portraits, but this paper is helpful in many ways. Thanks to the texture, thanks to this warm color where white looks very nice, you can layer and blend huge amount of layers, so definitely. And of course you can also use watercolor and other art supplies, so it's mostly mixed media works which I have here. Blue Angel Publishing are my favorites and my huge love. And I will leave this one on my table because question number 11 is favorite grayscale book. Actually, that's my favorite grayscale book. That's the level of grayscale which I love, which I tolerate. Together with this one, I have another example. Just give me a moment. Here. Also, I love Grayscale by Evelyn Van Kertsen. I have Rose and Her Friends number 1, number 2. That's just one example. Very light, very delicate grayscale. Just hint on the neck, on the nose, and it never looks dirty. Whatever pencils you used, oil-based or wax-based, it looks very nice beneath the layer of pencils, and even for such beginners as myself, it really looks good, just like here. There is a bad example. Actually, my acquaintance with art of Christine Karen started from this one. When I received this one, it was a present. I fall in love with the subject of these pictures, with beauty of her pictures, but with such grayscale, I didn't have any idea how I can actually color with such dark grayscale everywhere. If I want to do light blue sky, how I can do it? It will look dirty. And it's almost everywhere, this problem. There are winter pictures with this, sorry, but dirty underpaint. Well, maybe it's possible to color, but for me it was not very good base between line art and grayscale. So this one was laying on my shelf. I started to follow Christine Karen because I totally loved her art, and finally when other agency, other probably whatever who did it on the publisher to turn her art into coloring book, when they decided to use much delicate, much lighter line art, it was a huge step forward. I immediately knew that, oh, that's my moment. Great that I hadn't collect those books, and now I want to collect all of this. So that's amount of grayscale which I tolerate. Other grayscale totally are not interesting for me. Okay, number 12, only 12, book that intimidates you. Oh, many books intimidates me. It could be something very detailed like pictures by Tomislav Tomic. I admire his art, and because of this beauty, every time I feel like I am able to ruin everything because of the amount of details. It's difficult to plan all your colors, and from my several not very happy experiences, I think that I have some kind of complex now. When I look at these beautiful pages, I want to do them, but I know that it will be very challenging, and every time I feel very nervous. I recently did this one after a long time. Maybe now I feel a little bit more relaxed, because when those books were more available, everyone colored them. I saw huge amount of other people's works. They all were beautiful, and it also pressed on me that my works, they look strangely vibrant, cheap, not equal to the beauty. So Tomic is in the same time one of my favorite artists and most intimidating artists. And I also almost afraid of those portraits. I already mentioned this book, which is printed on great paper, which has the theme which I really love about history, about all those historical queens of Poland. But I don't know how to color portraits normally. I started one, it was a disaster, and it totally ruined my coloring in this one. Now it's waiting. Of course, I'm just happy to read the book. I actually indeed read about all those queens. It was very instructive, but when I'm very courageous to start doing something here, and yeah, I can do, but I'm sure that I will be quite unhappy in the end. So for now, that's definitely not on my list of future colorings, but I hope that one day it will stop to intimidate me and it will start to inspire me. Book you want to finish one day. I already told that it's Symphony of Cute Animals. I know that I will finish Russell Hampson Travel Around the World, so that we discussed. In this one I also have already a lot of pictures, still huge amount of empty pages, but for me the speed of filling this one is good, so maybe in couple of years I will do it. There are pictures which I abandoned, so I will need to do them if I want to finish it. There are pictures which are not very inspiring, and I leave them on the final steps. When my additional inspiration will be to finish the book, I will do also those not very inspiring pictures. For now, I select what I really love. I love to color according to the seasons, so that's one of the books where I color definitely each month, every month. The next book for practicing different techniques. Well, I would say that I'm not very experimental recently. I much more prefer doing my comfy coloring with art supplies which I know, just to relax and not to do anything weirdly creative, to test something. I just don't have enough mental strength now for this. I really want to use my coloring for relaxation, not for discovering and even not for learning. But I have a couple of books where I really love to use mixed media technique. Here books by the same decamate with amazing paper, and we talk again about Anna Marcinska art. Because of the great paper, I can use various art supplies. Regular granulating watercolor together with ink tents, and very unusual colors, which the idea I usually take from the description which we have here from the artist. This one was called Blue Flame, and that's what gave me initial idea of colors. Maybe for myself I wouldn't select such colors. Indeed, here I use mixed media a lot, like this one, with regular pencils, with various watercolors, matte regular watercolor together with pearl colors. It's simple, nothing very creative, but when paper allows you, when you have such big backgrounds which you need to fill somehow, I think that it really sparks my creativity, and I love to use here various art supplies. This one, first I applied granulating watercolors for the background. I did ink tents and polychromos image, and something was lacking. So first I decided to highlight lines with white gouache. It started to look better with more white color on this area, but still something was lacking. And I decided that, well, I can't ruin it, but I can improve it. And I grabbed some distress inks. I added a very light peachy color around the lady, and somehow it finished this one. Before I hadn't tried to use distress inks as a color accent on top of watercolor or gouache. Well, and I also have that book about Tolkien with great pictures but very bad paper. It also inspires me for practicing new techniques. Well, but that's from bad paper quality, not because I feel very inspired. So I just want to color but need to invent something how to work on this strange and not very friendly paper. The next question is the most affordable but great quality book, and it also was a difficult question. Of course, the most affordable books with decent paper, for me it's Creative Heaven. If you prefer to color with pencils, then Creative Heaven, especially if you love to color landscapes, interiors, perfect. Creative Heaven, Teresa Kudrich, other artists. For Prismacolor pencils, they are the best. Paper also takes minimal amount of watercolor as an underpaint, gouache paint also, and for markers also. And for their price, where you can purchase book for $5 or $4 on the sale especially, I think that it's very good balance between price and quality. But I can't say that it's great quality book. If we talk about really great quality, then my answer will be Nelko Neko. Let's compare. I saw myself this book on Amazon USA, for example, and the average price during sales or during normal days, it was around $20. Maybe not the cheapest one, of course, but we have this one. I think that even if this one is like $7, for 3 books of this one, you can purchase this. I love Matchstick Mouse, you know it, but we talk about quality. We have small pictures, which you can finish in 40 minutes, and terrible thin paper, almost transparent. Instead of purchasing such 3 books, I would recommend to get just one Nelko Neko. Paper is great, you can use whatever you want. I did full pictures with Prismacolor pencils. I tested a little bit cheaper pencils like Artisan, also work well. And recently I started to use water-soluble media for quicker coloring. For example, here I used neon colors, I used Inktense. Paper works great. And pictures are huge, detailed, interesting, instructive. So you will learn how to color many things: clothes, fur, various animals, landscapes, objects. So it's never boring. I would recommend to purchase this one for such quality. Amazon price, I don't know which price we have currently, but during the last year it was affordable, like $20. I think that for such book it's better to have one Nelko Neko and to color in this one. Actually, we have the next question, book you would recommend for beginners, and my answer will be the same. Get yourself something from Creative Heaven and something from really from Nelko Neko or from Kanoko Yagusa. Kanoko Yagusa Leon, it's now very difficult to get. This one is available from several Amazons. I really think that you need to invest into average or high quality book. Maybe you will have lesser amount of books at first, but you won't struggle with paper. You will get such skill to work on bad paper later. You will feel better your pencils. But for beginners, it's really a very good book. I can recommend this to anyone. And art is amazing. You will feel very positive vibes from every picture, and I think that it's also very important. Book that sparks your creativity. Oh well, it's difficult because recently I tend to color in more relaxed way. I think that most creative pictures I currently do in Kirby Razanes. Those pictures, they look difficult, but they in the same time make me quite happy when I feel that I can resolve this challenge. I can do pictures here, and I think that they look quite creative. It's mostly pencils, but I try to add a little bit of paints here and there, and definitely in it's a line vault, but in Ukrainian edition. Here I definitely want to start using also ink tents and gouache, so I would call that this one is difficult for me, but it really sparks my creativity. Okay, number 18. Most nostalgic or childhood-inspired book. Well, that's easy. I just need to find them on my table. When I was a child, I really loved coloring books where we have fairy tale illustrations, and for me, books which remind me about those books which I owned as a child. It's those elves by Crystal Vogel, especially this one. Even when I was a small girl, I loved to color all those fairies, princes, and flowers. So that's a really good reminder. And I also loved when we have some text with beautiful frames, or like a letter with illuminated by interesting frame around. So that's number one. And definitely the most inspired by my childhood memories is these fairy tales, and actually all books by Selina Fennig, which I sadly now stopped to color. Book with the most variety in pages. Well, there are books which have big variety in pages in good way and in bad way. Here is a bad example of a huge variety in pages. I love the book, I love the theme, and I knew when I purchased it that it was created by several illustrators. And some works I absolutely love, that's why I purchased it. Very lovely, but there are books, I'm sure that they are by the different artist. Like this one. Sorry, totally not my piece of cake. It's not a problem because with such thickness of book, such amount of pictures, I can forget about this one. But for me, it's a bad balance between very lovely pictures and, well, not very good pictures, like pictures fillers. So, that's probably by the same artist, I simply don't like his style. There is another example here. I think that mix is quite good. It's also from many artists. Some of them are much easier for me to color. Part of by Anna Marchinska I almost completed. Some are much more intricate, challenging, strange, but still it's nice. It's united by they are all Polish artists, so it's very lovely to promote them, and they united by the theme of spring. So this one I consider as a very good combination of different artists in one book. Much better example. But for me, you know what variety I prefer? It's Leon's journey. We have variety of subjects, so we can color animals, we can color landscapes, some objects, flowers, of course. We have variety of seasons, which for me is also important. And the most important, we have variety in size. You have lesser time, you do smaller pictures. You are able to do something more complicated, you can do such page, and I think that even spreads. So that's variation which I prefer and which I look for. Different size, different subjects, and well, that's why I love Leon's Journey so dearly. A seasonal favorite. Well, I have two favorites. For Christmas season, I definitely have Teresa Goodrich and all her books. Thank you for your very warm comments for my video about my finished works in Winter Books by Teresa Goodrich. I'm very happy that it was inspirational for you, and that's books which I always enjoy to do during end of November and December. And Leon's Journey started, and Nelko Neko actually, but Leon's Journey more, also started to be my seasonal favorites. They still have this vibe of the season, but it's not like only pumpkins everywhere or only Santa everywhere. You can also select different summer pictures. You want flowers, okay. You want seaside landscape, okay. You want fruits, perfect. So seasonal book also will be Leon's Journey. I think that I can put it into almost every answer. I forgot to mention, when we talk about affordable books of great quality, I think that the newest edition of Fairy Tales and Folklore by Emily Lindehall Oberg also has this very nice balance between paper and price. I think that now you can purchase it with sales, with discounts, which is also great. And I have heard that on that paper in new edition you can work with watercolors. Unfortunately, in my old book I can't use a lot of water and watercolor freely. I need to use something more dense like gouache or acrylic. So if it's really possible to use watercolors, that book by Emily Lindehall Oberg, it's definitely a great balance between affordable price and great quality. Well, most whimsical or fun book? Well, that's different questions. If we talk about fun, it's all books by Russell Hampson. I absolutely love to grab his books and to look for small details. In each page, apart from interesting subject, you always have those tiny details, like the look of the snail, secondary characters. They could be smallest in size, but they add this touch of humor to all his pictures. So fun books, it's definitely Russell Hampson artwork. If we speak about whimsical, and if I understand this correctly, for me it will be A Lion's Vault by Kerber Razanes again. Honestly, when I purchased this one, I did it only to support Ukrainian publisher who did the book during wartime. When I got it, I was sure that, well, I will never color it. What we have here, I don't understand. I have no ideas how to color it. I have other books by Kirby which I can color. The only pictures which I was able to understand, at least a little bit, it's where we have some parts of technology like this one. I thought that I can do this, and well, it's all. It was sitting on my bookshelf for a year. Then I gradually started to color in this one. And you know, now it's really a great book where I can do the craziest things. Maybe not technically craziest, because I color here with pencils mostly. But color combos which I tend to use here, they are the most fantasy, the most strange, both for the background, for the main objects, like this strange creature which I have here, or the Guardian. I feel like first I need to imagine myself what kind of vault we have here. This one is more peaceful with this Royal Guardian, so I tried to use more natural or pastel colors to show the calm atmosphere. There are other vaults much more bloody and cruel. And my color palette also was inspired by those ideas about what kind of vault we have, and which was introduced by Kirby. For me, it's definitely the most fantasy, the book which really press me to think hard, to imagine. It really sparks my imagination. I hope that I understood the world whimsical in correct way. And fun, always. Russell Hampson. Most realistic on nature-inspired book. Layla Dooley. Layla Dooley, my favorite. My love started from Flower Year. It continued with Floribunda, and now it sparkled again with newest books. For now, I would say that Walk in the Woods is my favorite. The size is intimidating, but here again we have variety of pictures, from double page spreads to the smaller flower compositions or smaller landscapes, and it's great. Also very good paper for pencils and also for watercolor, for ink tents, so no questions to the quality. And of course, like Layla Dooley does natural colorings, I think that nowhere can do such way. All compositions are extremely elegant. I do love how she combines all those greenery with flowers and berries. Compositions are well balanced. If you look, those who love books by Maria Trolle, but when you compare compositions of Maria Trolle and Layla Dooley, you can see this difference, why I am attached to the books by Layla Dooley. On Maria Trolle, quite often we have busy bottom part with flowers or something else, and empty upper part, very unbalanced. Here just addition of one bee, it helped to balance it. And on many pictures I really admire compositions and of course attention to details. If you have some branch, you will be sure that if it started somewhere, you can clearly see where it goes. It won't be lost somewhere. Very logically, what is on the first layer, what is behind. So everything is very thoughtful. You can see that it's really not artificial intelligence. It's a work by an artist. And the elegance, all those lines, thing which I also dislike from Maria Trolle. If you have a leaf, she usually uses the same thickness for the stamen. If you look at the Layla Dooley art, we have thicker branch here and more thin near the leaf or near berry, what we really can see in the nature. So again, attention to details, and that's really, for me, looks like adult coloring. They are complicated. I know if I want to start something like this, I need to plan a month ahead of me, because yes, every leaf, every grass, every tiny flower, you need to color in a realistic way. I also admire those colorists who use mixed media here. I think that Black Energy, she used acrylic paints, and her works, they are amazing. But I also feel that, strangely, I don't feel stressed or challenged when I do pictures here. It's just long but very relaxing. So that's definitely a book which I can recommend to everyone who loves to color nature, flowers. You will enjoy it, both in quality and in quality of art. Book you have ignored the longest. Oh well, I have several such books, but I brought to you two examples. Here, I think that I even need to adjust my camera. Fortunately, it's the last question, so I will show you full size of these beauties. I purchased them, I think, during the first months when I discovered Book Depository. It was many years ago. Of course, that was time when Game of Thrones was extremely popular. Everyone was eagerly waiting for the new season. And when I discovered there are several books by Game of Thrones, of course I purchased them. I have also another one by Tomislav Tomic and other artists, which I purchased in my local shop. I immediately started to color it, and it was one of the reasons why I hadn't colored this one. That book was more simple, better art style, paper suitable for watercolor and other art supplies. So this one, I thought that it was simply waiting when I finish that, and I will do pictures here. It has several problems. First, I am not very happy how they turned pictures into line art. For me, all those lines on the clouds, it's totally no. I really don't like it, because you will spend the majority of your time by masking those excessive lines, and you have similar problems on many pictures. Like this one. Guys, I will do those reflections and highlights myself, and now I just will need to mask them somehow, so it means that you will have to use paints. Also, there are portraits. Portraits are really good. They were done very beautifully without excessive lines and shadows, but I don't know how to color portraits. And how I can mess up with such beauty. I love them in line art, but still they are waiting until I feel more confident. Even when I start to color, I'm sure that I will start from landscapes, not from portraits. And another thing why I don't color in it, it's because of the size. It's big by itself, and 2 pages spreads, it's also huge. The same reason it's this book by John Hove. Also one of my first purchases. I love John Hove. When I was in Paris many years ago, I even purchased myself Lord of the Ring. It's a huge book with his full color illustrations. Don't ask me how I brought it home. So it was huge, heavy, and but still it made me extremely happy. When I saw the coloring book inspired by John Hove, I immediately knew that I needed it. It's by Pictura, sadly one of the publishers which is also now out of our market. It's another one big loss for me. They created several lovely books by various artists. I have other books. They are smaller in size and I still don't color them. Actually, we can include them also in the list of books which I neglect the longest time. It's also one of my old purchases. But this one, they don't intimidate me as much as this one because of the size. I decided to purchase this one in full size because I discovered that it has additional 4 pictures comparing to the smaller size, and it's like it wasn't enough for me with the small size which I hadn't colored, but no, I decided that I need more pictures and in huge size. Lovely, but look at this size, look at the amount of details here. I think that this one I saw and I decided that that's additional picture, so I will grab the book where it's available. Actually, now I think that maybe I can try doing something here. Now I have bigger amount of paints, bigger selection of watercolors and water-soluble pencils, which can help me to work on these big areas. Thanks to this tag, actually, I looked back at these books on this and on this. Maybe I will select something from this series and I will do something in January. But these Pictura books, they definitely are one of my oldest and the most neglected thing, which I will try to rectify during next months when all this Christmas coloring madness will be over. And it was the last question. Thank you for listening. I tried to do it quickly, but sometimes it was complicated. And sorry again for the quality of my picture, because it's really difficult to film when you don't have electric power. Thank you, and until my next videos, very soon I plan to start filming all my books and finished pictures. I hope that it will entertain you during December. Thank you, and until the next videos.